Hi Aries, welcome to your week ahead Taroscope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, these are for your sun, moon and ascendant sign. So whether you're a sun, moon or rising sign Aries, this is for you. Remember, they're general readings. Not everything's going to resonate with everybody. That is just fine. You should always use your own discernment. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise. They help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So I'm going to give these a shuffle and we are going to get started. Oh, okay, so your major arcana for the week has jumped straight out of the deck, and it is the Moon card, right? So remember, the Moon card represents the past. And one of the ways that I feel like this might show up for a lot of you is a past challenge and or issue may resurface this week in some way, shape or form. Now remember, Mercury is currently retrograde, and it's retrograde in your fellow fire sign at this point, in your fellow fire sign of Leo. So technically this is bringing something positive back into your world, or at least giving you a chance to go over something in your life in a way that ends up being or closing out in a satisfactory manner. So that's something to consider at this time. Now for your actions and options this week, you have the Three of Wands. I'm putting them here because, as you can see, we've got this patch of light and it's quite bright, so I'm going to put these here. Now the Three of Wands with the Moon card, this is an old opportunity that comes back into the fold. Now remember, the Three of Pentacles, sorry, the Three of Wands is in the position of it's in the position of your actions and options, right? This is about what you do or what you initiate. And the Three of Wands is a very, it's a very lucky card, but it's also a very expansive energy. Now this with the Moon card, this is you going over or going after an old opportunity of some sort. It comes back up, it gives you a chance to really look at it and examine this week. You know, is this something that is actually viable? Is it something that I really want to work with? And now that I can see it in a different light at a different time, maybe now that the resources are available to me, is this an opportunity that I actually want to move ahead with, or I feel is quite pertinent for and in my life? So in a lot of ways, I actually really like this for you. When it comes to the options that are available to you, there's a chance to literally re-establish or to re-look at, or maybe even re-examine it, or potentially even re-communicate whether an idea or an opportunity is for you. So actually, I think this is really nice. I mean, it's a great way to start. And then you've got the Nine of Cups. Nine of Cups for you falls in the position of your communications and conversations, right? So this is really about how you interact with and communicate with the world this week. Now the Moon card is number 18. 1 and 8 gives you 9. You've also got the Nine of Cups, 2 nines. 2 nines represents receipts. Well, what is a receipt? It's literally a record of a past transaction, right? So the past really this week is alive and kicking in many ways. And this with the Nine of Cups, this could actually be a conversation that goes a long way this week to helping you recover some kind of peace in your life. It's also possible that this could be some kind of remedial connection. So like if you've had a falling out with somebody, if you have been at odds with somebody, this week could be a week for forgiveness. So I will say as well, try to hold that elevated viewpoint this week, because it's very possible that that will actually lead the way. Now when it comes to your communications and conversations, for those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, this, especially with the Moon, excuse me, energy shift. All right, so this with the Moon is giving you a really solid, like, so if you're studying, if you're in academic pursuits, this is giving you a really solid internal feeling. So like this week, I think you're going to know very clearly on your internal level what it is that you really want to do with the studies or the learning material that you've been taking on board. I think up until now, a lot of you have probably been somewhat sort of like, well, I don't really know where this goes or what it's going to be, or you know what the plans are. but now it looks like you actually have a solid destination to go to. So that's really cool. Another way that this also potentially shows up for those of you that are employed by somebody else, this could be some kind of, because remember the Nine of Cups is a wish fulfilled, right? It's wish fulfillment energy, and coupled with the Three of Wands, this is like your decisive action, or maybe not necessarily action, but certainly your decisive manner of thought and processes creates the kind of change and or wish fulfillment that you're hoping for. Now with the Moon card here and this whole energy of bringing something back, if you are employed by somebody else, there's a chance here that things go really well for you in work this week and you're able to find the joy or the fun, right? It's kind of like that, you know, a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down type of energy. So I really like this. And again, if you've had problems or challenges with someone or a person at work, this could go a long way for you mending that rift. For those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that work for themselves, this is an opportunity in your business that comes back around that you either didn't have the time, the resources, the money, maybe even the wherewithal to realize what kind of opportunity you were being offered. This is growth in your business this week. Yes, even with the retrograde, this is growth in your business in a way that you really have hoped for quite some time. For those of you that are retired and no longer working, again, wherever there's been family disputes, challenges, issues, this is healing those rifts, it's mending those rifts. And I gotta be honest with you, with the cards that are present here, it also suggests that there has been, you know, it's not just on the other person, right? This is a part of it is like you're owning up to say, actually, you know what? I'll own my portion of whatever the problem or the issue was between us. For your love and relations, you've got the Two of Wands. So this is you getting really proactive about love, right? If you've been, and I know a lot of Aries have been quite sort of preoccupied with other things recently, this looks like you are going in for your relationship. So for those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, this is you really putting the hard work and effort in to do something that feels good for you and your partner. And actually it's the Two of Wands, so this could be something that you're, you know, this could be a big sort of big spend, a big purchase within the relationship, or maybe even the planning of a trip for the future in some regard. It just obviously remember Mercury is still technically retrograde for the end of, certainly through the end of this week coming, so you just want to be 100% sure about your travel plans so that you don't run into that. And then finally, when it comes to those of you that are single and looking, if you are ready and willing and open and waiting for love, it could very well be a world traveler or somebody that you have met, or you know, maybe somebody that you've been speaking to for a long time. Maybe now you finally crossed that barrier. And I will say, especially for those of you who this person happens to be like a foreign national, somebody from a different background or a different culture, etc., this is you guys finally crossing the threshold to meet in person, which is great. Ooh. And then for your money and materials, you've got the Four of Wands. So the Four of Wands, sorry, the Four of Swords. So the Four of Swords is a waiting, patience and stillness card. And when it comes to money and resources, it's funny because, you know, I talked about this for those of you that are planning sort of trips abroad and whatnot with partners, etc. And even for those of you that are single, I've got no problem with you traveling. However, if there is a big spend this week, particularly on some kind of travel, maybe some kind of joy or pleasure pursuit, I'm not saying don't go for it. What I am saying is this is not the right time. It's a timing thing. So if you can wait, if you can push this back a little bit, not only are the results better, but there's a less likely chance that you get hit by that Mercury retrograde energy, right? So watch out for big spendages this week. I would hold off on large purchases if you can. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, although this card actually speaks to the kidneys, this really for me is very much a rest and recuperation card. And when this card shows up, you are being urged to take the time out now so that you don't end up having to take more time out later. So this is kind of like, you know, if you're, I mean, if you're an adult, really, because what I'm about to talk about, everybody knows. I think some people are just naturally more body conscious than others, right? So you wouldn't know it from looking at me, but I used to be a dancer. And so I'm very aware of my body. So usually I can feel like a cold or something along those lines, or, you know, like a bout of tiredness and stuff. I can feel that coming usually like a few days out. And in the old days, I would just ignore it and push through, and then end up 6 weeks later, I would end up having to take like 3-4 weeks off, or I'd lose my voice or whatever. Whereas now, once I can feel that coming up, I just say to myself, okay, you know what, the next few days I'm just going to take it easy. I'm going to take it off. I'm going to look after myself, good food, nurturing, nourishing, getting my water, getting my rest, all the rest of it. And then I tend to sail through. That's what the Four of Swords is. It's a heads up to say, take the time now so that you don't end up having to take 6 weeks off later because you crashed. When it comes to your home and environment, the Four of Swords is basically saying, especially where it comes to things like spending money on the home, not this week, unless you can, like, unless it's something that you really need, right? If it's an item that need, like if it's your washing machine or your fridge or whatever, of course you replace that. If it's in a Mercury retrograde, shop second hand, because you can absolutely find incredible bargains in a Mercury retrograde. Like, you really, really can. Okay, so if you're ever going to buy a refurb, this is the time to do it. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. If you want to book your personal session with me, you can do so on the link in the description box below. Take care, and I'll see you soon.